Hi, this is Jason from Biblical Thematic Universe, and today we're reviewing Joseph and Mary, The Legendary Journeys. I kid you. Kevin Sorbo from Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and from Andromeda, and from also Andromeda series, as well as from God's Not Dead, and Lara Jean George Setsky, I think it's pronounced. She has been in such TV shows as The Hannibal, based on Hannibal Lecter, an episode of Beauty and the Beast, the newer one, Kristen Kuek, and also she was in the movie The Masked Saint, with which was a Christian faith movie about wrestler turned vigilante. This movie is kind of very much like The Chosen in terms of like it's very much a TV type budget, and it's very episodic. I'm endeared to this movie, actually. Maybe it's because of Kevin Sorbo, but like it's such a low budget. It is a very low budget. It's filmed in North Bay, Ontario, which is like very far north in Ontario, and I'm near Windsor, so it's like over 14 hours away, and the special effects are like CGI backgrounds. It kind of reminds me of the old Bible films from like the old Bible films and TV shows from like I'm not talking about the biblical epics, but I'm talking about the old Bible films that are from like the 1930s, 40s, where, and even the silent films where like you had like, you know, back TV type budget backgrounds or whatever, or painted backgrounds, right? Except in this case, it's CGI backgrounds, clearly a blue screen probably. Minimal sets, you know what I mean? At one point, Joseph looks like he's wearing just a towel, like a hand, like you know, a common tablecloth or something, you know, like a hand towel that he putting it at that as his costume. It probably has the budget of probably like a really big church play, but it's endearing. And so, like, be aware that I'm giving it a really high rating, knowing that it is on a very, 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 very low budget. It basically, the budget of this show is probably the same budget as the first episode of The Chosen pilot. You know what I mean? That kind of, almost that style, right? Or first episode at least. Because Kevin Sorbo is in it. Anyways, so the story in this is Joseph and Mary are already married in this. Joseph, played by Kevin Sorbo, who at the time of this in 2015 would have been in his 50s, playing like a character, I guess, supposed to be an older Joseph anyways. I don't know how old the actress is, but she looks like she's clearly at least in her 20s or something, that she's playing her in her 20s or something. But Mary and Joseph are married already. The kid's already on the way, so we're past that part of the story. So we're not part of the story of Joseph not knowing why Mary's pregnant or whatever. Rabbi Elijah is their friend. Another friend of theirs gets killed by soldiers, and the woman is left to, you know, she's left childless basically, and so the rabbi marries her, but they'll never forgive the soldiers for what they did. And then it follows mostly the storyline of it does get quickly into Joseph and Mary and the nativity and the birth of Christ, and being visited briefly by the three wise men. The rabbi happens to be in the same town because he's there for the census as well, but he's asleep when it happens, so he didn't actually see he knows the baby was born, but he doesn't know that it was anything to do with like the wise men or the star or anything. You know what I mean? Then it also shows after it shows briefly, like, then Joseph and Mary come back after several years, and Joseph and Jesus is about 12 years old. So half the film is kind of like the section with the birth of Christ, and the other half of the film is where Jesus is 12 years old. The one biblical story from that is, of course, the in the temple, you know. But then Jesus kind of, you know, they're trying to teach Jesus, and the rabbi is kind of listening to this kid, going like, how does this kid know this wisdom? You know, what's with this kid? How does he know who his father is? Whatever, and basically the way it ties it into the original story that is tied in with the biblical story is the rabbi learning to forgive his enemies, basically. But there's a cool ending and a twist to it that you might not see coming, in terms of like, you forgive your enemies, but the wrath of God is still like, up there, which is kind of cool. I like that. What I'm sharing with you is that if you like Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, I know that's a really weird reference. If you like Kevin Sorbo, you will probably enjoy this little film. It is not going to be just paint by numbers the Bible story, but the stories that are added to it is more to give like a historical context. Really, it's just a kind of like a what if chapter, but not in any way that like is challenging to theology or anything. It's more because the what if chapter is about like the rabbi and what might have happened to the rabbi and the friends of Joseph and Mary. There's nothing like anti-biblical with it being this rabbi who lost, who married this woman who was a widow to support her, and and wants revenge. You know what I mean? I mean, not to compare to Ben-Hur, but Ben-Hur did the same idea of the thorns of forgiveness too, right? So what do I give this film? I give it a 6 out of 10. It's probably higher than it deserves, but I think that, again, if you like Kevin Sorbo, if you love The Chosen and you like that idea of looking at biblical characters in a different light, in a different story, you're going to enjoy this. And again, the storylines are not from the Bible. They're just more historically possible stories that would have happened at the same time as the biblical events. They would have happened, for sure. We know that biblically, King Herod was doing bad things, right? So it just gives you a nice, fresh story, and it's an enjoyable TV type movie. I give this 6 out of 10 again. Me at the Biblical Cinematic Universe. Go watch Joseph and Mary: The Legendary Journeys. I'm kidding. It's just called Joseph and Mary.